First of all, looking ahead to the game, obviously you had a fantastic result last week. How's the mood been and what's the team news looking like?
I'm not going to tell you the team first off, but
any injuries then?
No, everyone came through the game really well actually. I mean, I can't say anything apart from the obvious. You know, it's been a good week. I think it was a big result, big performance, and a big kind of big uplift. You know, with the feeling and inside the stadium and it's getting that balance. You know, between taking the encouragement and the confidence from the game itself and the performance, and keeping level-headed and our feet on the ground, knowing we've got another big game coming up, and one game doesn't change and make you a great team. It gives us a great foundation to build on. So yeah, there's a lot of confidence, there's a lot of good feeling within the group, but measured with that, you know, and we know what's coming and we've got to be ready for it.
The club announced yesterday, and Casemiro himself announced that he'll be leaving during the season. I'm guessing he'll have a pivotal role, but it also raises question as to some other players' futures. Harry Maguire, for example, another person's contract's running out. Has the club had discussions with him about his future? Does he know where his future lies?
I think that's just coming into that time of the season, really, and with contracts, and obviously January is January in the window, and kind of working my way through that and coming towards the end of the season in terms of contracts and decisions, and that'll obviously be taken in discussions and in good time, really, and at the right time. So you know, I think the kind of announcement for Cassie, I think was for clarity as much as anything. You know, it was kind of decided anyway, before I arrived. So it's not just a knee-jerk kind of decision, but the type of personality, the character that he is, I think it shows with his performance last week, you know, and where he is mentally and how much it means for him to be here and to finish the season strong. I've already had that conversation with him, and he's desperate to do well and finish well, and it's good to see. So I've got no doubt about him at all.
Michael, just on that, does that mean that you're going to be involved in these discussions? Because obviously it's a bit of a weird situation that at the moment you're only here until the end of the season, and then clearly the club's got to operate beyond that. I didn't know what kind of input you had into all of these decisions on contracts and targets and what happens with it.
Yeah, well, you know, for the week or so that it's been so far, I think looking too far down the track hasn't happened just yet. I think it's been the initial thoughts of what's happening now. I think what the important thing for me is any decision I make on my staff mate or the club mate. It's not short term. You know, it's not just to get through to the end of the season. You know, I've got a responsibility to whatever happens next for it to be in a good place and moving forward to make the right decisions. So you know, as time goes on, I'm sure I'll be part of it and we'll work our way through it.
Just in terms of the injuries, Manchester Lake, when he was first missing, Ruben said, I'd be back next week, and now we're weeks, months down. Is he anywhere near coming?
Hopefully, yeah. He had a bit of a setback initially before I arrived, I think, and only small, but it's maybe not so much a setback. I think it just was a little bit slower than we'd hoped. But he's certainly getting closer, and you know, hopefully in the next couple of weeks or so, without putting an exact time, he'll be back and around it, and it'll be great to have him back.
Michael, how are you feeling about Arsenal?
Yeah, looking forward to the game. It's a big challenge, you know. They're a very good team. It's pretty obvious to say that they've got so many strong points to the game and the squad, and so it's a big challenge. You know, they're where they are for a reason, in the Champions League where they are for a reason, and so we're fully aware of that. You know, not taking that lightly at all. It's we feel we're in a good place, and we're going there looking forward to the game. So it's where we want to be. You know, in that with that real positive and that energy and that enthusiasm, and to go there and be positive. But yeah, for sure we know that it's not going to come easy.
Michael, you talk about you making decisions for the long term, not just the short term. We saw Cobby mainly make his first league start in Manchester Derby. Just wonder how important could he be in the long term future of this club, and what's it been like working with him so far?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed working with Cobby. I've known him since since he was young. I think I started working him a little bit when he was 13, 14 years old, when I was kind of going through my badges myself. So it's listen, I've said it before. I think this club needs young players coming through and being the foundation for understand what it means, and not just for the players or the squad, but for the club and for the supporters, you know. And I think it's something that we need to grasp and we need to keep building on. And Cobby's a prime example, you know, to come through so quickly and have the rapid rise, and to play in some unbelievably big games and impact those big games at such a young age shows an awful lot of quality in the terms of the character, and to be able to handle it. And I think part of a career is a few ups and downs, and sometimes it goes in different trajectories. But I think we seen last week what Cobby can bring. It was great, you know. He's quite straight-faced, and he doesn't give you an awful lot, but you could see the way he played and he expressed himself. He was enjoying himself, and to see him like that was great.
Oh. Hi Michael. When you were playing against Arsenal as a player, you had lots of battles when the clubs were both going for the title. Obviously Arsenal have kind of pulled away the last 2 or 3 years to actually be up there challenging for the title. Can you look at Arsenal and some things that they've done as a sort of example of how to sort of get out of that rut and get up there and challenging again?
I think we've got our ideas, you know, and what needs to be done and how we need to get there. I think credit to Arsenal, you know, they're in a really strong place at the moment, and they've built the squad and the group, and Mikel takes a lot of credit for that. He's done a fantastic job, and I think we've got our own ideas as well of what we need to do and what it's going to take to get there, and that's what we'll keep working towards.
Carl and then Tyrone.
Hello, Mr. Carrick. I'd like to ask about the use of Brian Bruno in the derby, played as a centre forward. How does his game as centre forward contrast to Benjamin Sesko and Joshua Zirkzee?
Yeah, it's just variety in terms of the strengths in some ways. I think Brian gave him a bit of a free role in many ways in a partnership with Bruno last week, and to drift and to fill different spaces. I think Ben's very good at playing on the last line and runs in behind, and I think we've seen that over recent weeks, and he's done great to get his goals, so he's in a good place. And Josh can do a little bit of both, and plays and drifts and plays in the hole and plays into feet and links, and is very good at bringing other people into play. So just different styles, you know. I think certain games will suit different styles. It's great to have that flexibility for sure, and Matthias come on through the middle and made a big difference for us, and in terms of carrying the game into the later stages and creating a second goal. So we've got good options through there, and we just felt last week that was the way to go, and obviously thankfully it paid off for us.
Hi Michael, just ask you about Diogo. He's a player who's had a difficult season. There was a bit of frustration with him early on in the game last week as well. It seems that fans have kind of criticised him a bit this time and not fully taken by him. How do you think he's having a season, and do you think kind of settling into a role at right back now might help him after being moved around a lot this season?
Yeah, I thought he played ever so well last week. I have to say, you know, there was obviously the incident and the yellow card, and that was probably after 10 minutes or so. So to go one-on-one with the winger for the rest of the game, and to manage that, and to defend as well as he did, it was very impressive. So I was delighted with him last week. I think it's pretty obvious, you know, at times there's been a few ups and downs with performance, not individually but collectively. So then it's not easy to get your rhythm and find your top form individually. But I think Diogo, from what I've seen here, I've known him for a while, and seeing him this week, he's really focused. He's desperate to do well. Loves playing for the club. You can see that, and as I said, he played fantastically well last week, so a lot for him to build on.
Just ask you quickly about Ben as well. I saw you put your arm around him at the end last week. Obviously he didn't get on. It felt like you inherited him at a good time in his United career after what Darren had done with him. How do you now go about managing him when he's not played for 2 weeks and might have risked kind of losing that momentum, and what have you made of him since you got him on the training ground?
Yeah, I don't think it's losing momentum. I think it's as I said, it was a team for last week to go into the game in a certain way. I think he's in a good place, but I think he's trained really well. Obviously, we're working with him and keep trying to improve him as much as possible. But I've been really impressed, to be honest, the way he's trained and he's finishing and the way he's gone about it. So yeah, I don't see it as anything else other than pushing on and using what he's just done over the last month or so as a stepping stone to be here and successful for a long time.